Okay, we are going to do a Facebook Live. We're going to attempt this to the best of my ability. And that's going to be very shaky, and here's the reason why. Because we are in an automobile. And I want to make sure this is on, because Pam, up in the left-hand corner, it says live. Is that right?
I think so.
Okay, I don't see anybody on yet.
Give them a minute.
Oh, got to give them a minute. Okay. Okay, we'll give you a minute. In fact, we may have to give you more than a minute, because I want to make sure. Here, Pam, you look at this and tell me if everything's right. Is everything right, honey?
Looks so.
Looks so. Okay. Well, we'll try it anyway, and then if nothing picks up from this, because we're in an automobile, and let me turn the volume up, because I know a lot of times, there's no volume at all. Now it's up. You had the volume completely down, Miss Pam.
So sorry.
Yep, there you go. Okay. Well, we're here on our way to the studio, the Daystar studio in Dallas, Texas, with our precious driver, who we have known for many years, and my precious wife, who I've known for even longer than our driver. But beside me in the automobile is Rabbi Jonathan Cahn, the #1 author in America. And, you know, Jonathan, really, when we say that, you're just not the top author in the Christian community. It's one of the top authors in the book. I hate to say it this way, but it's the book industry in the whole United States, because your books are just always going to the top position on the New York Times.
Yeah, by God's grace. And, you know, this one, the Josiah Manifesto, was just released in September, and it debuted as #1. And that was, you know, I mean, we've been blessed, but this was like crazy. We didn't expect it.
Well, I know that in my, how many books have you written, by the way?
This is number 8.
Number 8?
Yeah. The Harbinger is 1, and that's when we first met.
List them for me, yeah.
The Harbinger, the Mystery of the Shemitah, the Book of Mysteries, the Paradigm, the Oracle, the Harbinger 2, the Return of the Gods, and the Josiah Manifesto.
There has been 8.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing, Jonathan, that you have been, and everybody's saying no sound, it's very difficult, because normally on Pam's phone, when the sound goes up, it just goes back down. I don't know, there's something wrong with her sound. If you can hear me, give it a thumbs up, just so I know. All of you out there watching, give it a thumbs up if you can hear. And you're going to hear road noise, because we don't have microphones and things of that nature. But Jonathan is also one of the, really the keynote speaker who opens up our International Prophetic Summit. Do you enjoy that summit?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It is electric. The people are so on fire, so hungry, so warm. It's like a family, but it's like a prophetic family that is a massive prophetic family, and it's wonderful. It's so I can't say this. So and you too. I mean, and you also have fun as you. If you're there, it's going to be fun. But it's always, I look forward to it from the very beginning.
And we love having you. You know, as long as the Lord tarries and we have that conference, you know, I want Jonathan to be there, because the people just pack it out. You know, I don't know if you know this, but they don't all show up at one service, but we had 5,000 people attend.
Wow.
And of course we can accommodate them in overflow rooms and cafe and all that. But when we announce that, we're going to put a kind of a limit on the number this year to a certain number. But you might want to keep that in mind. And have you noticed how many new people are always there?
Well, there have to be, because every time I do the signing, it's like, think, okay, that you have the books, and unless they're selling them or reselling them or giving them out, which is good. But I mean, I don't know if I've ever been in a conference where people are so hungry for the books. I mean, unbelievable. So there have to be new people.
And all of our speakers, and that we have Lance Wannell coming back, and Lance told me, Bill has told me, that our people at the Prophetic Summit actually purchase more resources there than anywhere they go in the whole United States.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And I think it's because our people are very hungry for the Word of God.
Yeah.
And if you've noticed, and I know you've gone to so many different churches, but if you go to some churches, you only have and I think you would agree with me, a core of people, and let's say there's 2,000 people there. There's a core that really understand the prophetic word or have studied it. And the others, maybe they're out of curiosity or they want to hear what you've got to say. But it's like our people are like scholars of prophecy. I mean, they're with you from the start. I mean, you can tell when you're preaching.
Yeah, the whole place is core people.
That's
and,
right.
and I think one of the reasons also, Barry, is that you very much are the word and the mysteries of the word, and you're uncovering that, and you're getting deep into that more. And I think that's part of it, that the people come because of that.
And I remember one time, I've got to tell you this because there was and this is a humorous little personal story, but I was taking one of my dear friends I've known for many years to an airport. They came to preach for our conference. We were driving her back to the airport, and she had a ministry, and she was just reaching thousands of women. She could have a conference, and the last conference that she had, now this is years ago, there were 15,000 women. Well, here I was having all these prophetic conferences, different things, and different types of conferences. And I was drawing maybe 1,500, 1,800, 2,000, which is great. Praise God for that. So I was driving her back, and I said, I want to ask you a question. And she said, what is that? I said, you've been preaching 10 years, and you're already having 15,000 women. I've been preaching 25 years, and I can't get 3,000 to show up. And honestly, I said, honestly, tell me what it is. What do you think it is? And you know what she said? And she was very sincere. She said, you're too deep.
Ooh.
And I said, now what is that supposed to mean? Because I thought she was cutting up. She says, no, here's what it means. She says, in my ministry, and she was also talking about Joyce. I'm good friends with Joyce Meyer.
Yes.
No, Joyce. She says, we're very practical. We give them the word, but we're very practical. We tell a lot of stories. But when you preach, you're in the Hebrew and the Greek and the history. And she says sometimes, and Pam's even told me this, she says sometimes you can go over people's heads. And so people are like, well, yeah, I enjoy Perry, but and I've heard people say, well, he's a little deep. So I almost took that as like, oh God, what's wrong with me? Am I not reaching people? And then she said to me, Perry, please, you need to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Now your lane, there's no doubt about this. Your lane is mysteries. You're probably one of the most anointed men, and I mean this, that I've ever known of in any time. I've read books from the 1700s, the 1800s, the theological books, that type of thing. But when it comes to explaining the times and the patterns, I love patterns and the cycles, you have a gift from the Lord that absolutely, a mind for that. Yeah, and that's a gift because not everybody can do that. Absolutely not everybody can do that. And so we're here at Heart for the World, as most of you know. And again, I'm with Jonathan Cahn and Miss Pam. There you are, Miss Pam. You're in the front seat. Say something, Miss Pam, so they'll know I know you're here. Say something.
I'm here.
She's here. Hear that beautiful Alabama accent. That's why that's why I married her, because her accent just it melted me. It was like and she said I didn't say that, but she does. She wouldn't say Perry, she'd say Perry. And I was like, wow, I kind of like being called Perry. When she goes back to Alabama, it comes back on her a little bit. But we're at Daystar.
When I go to your conference, I start picking up an Alabama. When I come back, it goes back to New Jersey. But if I stay too long,
oh, that's funny.
But it's dramatic. We're here at dramatic times. Actually.
And on a more serious note, we're here with the Daystar, and they're raising a lot of funds, thank God, for Israel, and they're purchasing equipment, they're purchasing ambulances, they're going to purchase the bomb shelters for the people. And I wanted to say, if you have not watched Daystar with Jonathan or any of us, then you need to. At what time? Pam's holding up her fingers.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. It starts at 6 o'clock, and that's central. That's central. So it's 7 o'clock East Coast time. And go to the Daystar Network and really just kind of watch the whole thing, because first of all, the speakers' messages are really phenomenal. All of them. I know Benny Hinn was here, Jonathan Cahn, I call it Dr. Cahn. You are a doctor to me, your PhD, master's degree, was here yesterday. And, I had never, I'd heard Benny teach off and on and excerpts and things and seen some of his programs, but he did an actual message yesterday, very interesting, and had very interesting stories he told about God's blessing and God desiring people to prosper. And that word prosper, of course, in Hebrews, means to be successful in your journey. It can be successful in your journey. It could be, blessed with the works of your hands, your job. But anyway, Joni has been sending money as it comes in. Actually, they're sending in advance from their fund. And as the money continues to come in, they do it. And all 100% goes to Israel. And so I think that I'm just so thrilled to be a part of this. And,
at this dramatic time, I mean, it just was scheduled to do like more than one day on Israel, which is rare. And then it turned out it's in the midst of this crisis.
And no one knew it was coming.
No.
When we were at our main event last week, I knew we would be coming here. And one reason Joni asked me to come in for the entire week is, we have been personal friends with Marcus. Marcus and I were kid preachers traveling as teenagers throughout the United States, and we went to conferences together. We did revivals together and that type of thing. So we have known the family from the very beginning, and we were on Daystar with him the day that he and Joni. I call it I started to say pull the plug. They didn't pull the plug. They pulled the power button, the switch on, and said, "Do you remember what it was back then? Was it Channel 22?" Sharon, was it Channel 22? Does Sharon remember what it was back in the early days? What was the first channel? Was it
21?
21, Channel 21. And I remember that we had phones and no phone rang. And then they started ringing and people said, "What is this? Who is that guy? Who are those people?"
Really?
Oh, yeah. And the response was like, it wasn't like, "Praise God, we have a Christian network." And it built into a global, worldwide network. And I'm telling you, the thing about it is it's just incredible. But Jonathan, I believe, I know people are going to want us to give them a prophetic word, but do you agree with me that what's happening in Gaza, if Israel goes in, which they've already done a little operation, but they're addressing this as a war. If they go in and they really take out this terror organization like they're saying they're going to, which will take time, of course, the Islamic world, especially Persia, Turkey, these nations that are mentioned in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, are going to get stirred up. And I don't think the Gog and Magog war is going to happen, the next couple of months. But do you see that this could be a prelude? The response to it, depending on what happens, could be a prelude to the Ezekiel 38, 39 war.
Yeah, in the same way that we don't know what's coming right away, but all these forces are moving toward that. The fact that you have Iran and Persia, number one, as mentioned. Turkey is an enemy of Israel now, and by the way, these are ones that used to be kind of friendly to Israel,
right?
And you have Russia, that's an uncertain thing, that is, belligerent, and you have all that. So no matter what, I mean, this is major. What we're seeing,
really is.
And it's major, and it's going to have repercussions. It's not going to stop. So it is going to lead into whatever's next.
And we've been to Israel, and I want to say this because we have trips planned in the very near future, and you do too. But we have been there when they were shooting missiles, and we never knew it. No one ever knew, because the distance between where that was to where we were, and even in the northern area, you go the extreme north is where the most of your problems are with Hezbollah, and you don't ever see that. And so I want people to know that normally Gaza is way south, and the border of Lebanon is way north, and most of your tours are all in the center.
That's right. That's right. We're just the same exact thing.
Yeah, we were discussing
we're trying to figure out what to do, but the general thing when you go to Israel, you feel, you hear all these stories. It's like I'm watching New York murders, But you go to New York, you're not going to be in the midst of that. It's a news story, But the thing is, when you're there, people say, "Well, I feel like I'm home." I mean, it's just like this, For most of it, that's what it's like.
Well, it's almost like you talk about New York. When you think of New York, you think, "Oh my goodness, there's crime everywhere." But you live up there, and you can go to the streets, you go to the stores, you go to the restaurants, and most of the time you don't see that.
That's
the
not
majority of the time.
It doesn't make the news. What makes the news is bad news. So
true.
So the thing is that is basically the case. I just heard from one of the tour people, and he said, this is what they said to me. We can't say what we're going to do, but he said, don't cancel the tour. He said, we're doing a tour now. Everything is fine. Now, we can't say what's going to happen. Like, if this goes into a world war, it's a whole different story.
Right.
But if they take control of the situation like they're doing.
Which they've got the border
and it
control.
doesn't go bigger, then it's going to be a whole different story.
Yeah, and I was noticing the airlines are getting ready to go back in and so on.
Really?
And so, so this is something that Israel is always, it's like I tell people, if you ever wait to go to Israel, when it's perfect, you'll go in the millennium.
That's right.
You're not going to go.
That's right.
But we have been so many times, I guess we're just so used to, and sometimes we would hear news and we'd say, well, we were right near there. We didn't even know that. We didn't hear anything about that. And it is a place, and when you go to the city of Jerusalem, you know this, that you go to the wall to pray and you really feel the presence of the Lord there. It's an amazing place. Yeah. And you go and you tour the land, you're in the bus, and I go up on the Mount of Olives, and people are just, the nations of the world, you may be on the Mount of Olives, and there you are with your group, and you're teaching, and then you hear some Brazilians at the bottom of the hill singing, and up on top of the hill, you'll hear some Russians, and you hear some people from China, maybe Indonesia, and it's so, in the Garden Tomb, that's one of my favorite places. I know you've been there too, and you'll be in there, and all these people will just be singing and worshiping, and it's like, oh, this is a little bit of heaven. Isn't that true?
Yeah. It's the Bible says it's the center of the world, and so it is the center when you're there truly. And not only that, you see people from every nation, and with most of them, I can't say, oh, there's a oneness. I mean, that it's the same spirit most of the time. Not everyone, but there's no place like Israel. I mean, there's no. It's life changing. And the other thing is, again, we don't know what we're gonna be doing.
Sure.
We're all dealing with the situation, but the thing is that this is also a time when Israel needs support, and so going there could be one of the most special times.
And I hate to say it this way, but in these kind of circumstances, which we have been in before, and we go, if it reduces the crowd, you actually you see more places.
That's right.
I don't want to say that like this is a positive, but it is true. Yeah. And there's not many buses, and you just go all over the place. And I remember I went right before the Gulf War. No, when was that? It was before one of the wars broke out, and I said, I feel like we're going to be able to go. Yeah. And I was the only bus in the country. Jonathan, this is the honest truth. Pam will remember this. And they would look, a bus. And we went everywhere.
With no problem.
They rolled out the real carpet. Yeah. We went into the West Bank, went to Bethlehem, went to Jericho. And, they literally rolled out the red carpet for us. But, Jonathan, I want to say how much I really do appreciate your friendship over the years.
Likewise.
And just the camaraderie that we have in the prophetic world.
Absolutely.
And I'm coming out with a new book I told you about yesterday. And I think it's going to be probably the best prophetic book that the Lord's ever given me to write, especially on the subject it's about. It's going to be out probably about the next 50 days or 60 days, something like that. We're going to get it out as soon as we can because we feel like it's timely. But we have now arrived at the Daystar network, and let me just show you here. I'm going to turn this around. And I don't know what this looks like, what you're seeing, but there's the headquarters building. Oops. And here is, and I hope I'm just doing this by faith because I can't see anything. There's the world headquarters. I think it's about a 4-story building. And here's now these are people that are coming in to help us tonight. Look at the crowd you have to do for the taping, for the cameras, for the production, and also for the phones. There's hundreds of phones here. And this is what we have to see. They always have great security. There's a guy. Now, that brother right there, I know a little bit about him. I don't want to mess with him. He's a good, saved man, but you don't want to mess with him. So I'm going to cut it off because we don't want to.
They were in the whole ride with us. This is the ride from the hotel. You were with us.
Yeah, you were with us the whole time. So I have to cut it off because of where we're getting ready to go and everything. So I hope that you'll get to go back and play this again. Will it stay on Facebook, honey? It'll stay. So I'm going to hit finish, right? Am I hit finish? So we're here. I hope you can tune in tonight and watch us. And Jonathan, we're going to have a good night tonight. This is a lot of fun. It's a burden to carry when you know what this is going for, and you carry the burden for Israel, but it's going to be a great time, without a doubt. Amen. Okay, we're here. I got to go get my brand new outfit on. I'm going to wear a coat tonight. I call it my Daystar coat. So Pam is asking for her phone, so I got to go.
Thank you. Praising the Lord.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your attention for a moment. Did you know the day is coming where we're going to have a cashless system of buying and selling? What has to happen before that takes place? Did you know this? There are 5 things that must happen first before this can be totally implemented, not only in the United States, but on a global level. I compiled some information. I talked to some multimillionaires. I talked to some bank people, and I want to present to you a 2-hour audio CD called The Doom of Cash and the Future Beast Monetary System. I'm going to show you how this cashless form of buying and selling is going to tie into the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 13. This is very detailed. It's updated. I know there's a lot of this you've not heard. And along with this 2-hour audio CD album, I have another 2-hour audio CD album called Angelic Warfare and Satanic Assignments During Prophetic Seasons. Now here's the fact. Angels are released to minister to the church, to individuals, and rule over nations. Like Michael the Archangel is the guardian angel of the nation of Israel. What you may not be aware of is more angels will be released during prophetic seasons, and more revelation from God is released during prophetic seasons, and that's where the demonic prince spirits, Ephesians 6 and 12, and also in Daniel 10, step in to interfere with the prophetic revelation and to interfere with the process of a prophecy from coming to pass. I was actually going to write a book on this subject, but it was going to be so long, it would have probably been a 500-page book, but I wanted to get it in a 2-hour teaching. And I'm telling you, if there's ever been a teaching absolutely power-packed and loaded, a lot of Hebraic studies, a lot of study about angels. Let me ask you something. What can we do in prophetic seasons when there is this such heavy demonic battle between angels and demons? This is the reason why the nations are shaking. This is the reason why there's mob rioting in the cities. All of this is connected to prophetic seasons that we're in. So I want to teach you about angelic warfare and satanic assignments. Now you can get both of these for your donation of $30 or more, and you request offer FED-144. That's FED-144. And again, $30 or more. But if you order now, I'm going to include a bonus audio CD, End Time Secrets Hidden in the Parables of Jesus. You will love this. So that's 5 hours of total teaching that we want to present to you as the Manifest offer. Help us keep Manifest on the air. Order by calling 1-888-21-BREAD, the toll-free number, or order online at perrystone.org. That's a very fast way of ordering. Or if you want to write a check, make it out to Perry Stone Ministries and send it to P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now once again, it's $30 for the entire set, and this is a limited time offer, so order today.
If you enjoyed this YouTube content, there's an important website you should know about: perrystone.org. Perrystone.org is an essential resource for the latest books, audiovisual presentations, and digital products from Perry Stone Ministries, resources that cover the same kinds of topics discussed in the program you just watched. Stop in and see all that's available at perrystone.org.